Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Phoenix, Arizona, it's time for Phoenix Business Radio, spotlighting the city's best businesses and the people who lead them.
Welcome to Phoenix Business Radio, broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studio inside Max 6 Workspace and the Conscious Capitalism Arizona headquarters in Tempe, Arizona, where we help build businesses and connect you to the right people. I'm your host and Phoenix Business Radio studio ambassador, Kinder Maples. Today, we have two amazing individuals that it was really hard to tackle you guys down and get a date, but I'm excited we got them both in the room. Both of these individuals are very, very passionate leaders with a global vision. So I'm really excited for them to share their stories and their companies with everybody today. So we have Sonny Patel, founder and CEO of Insurmi, although you said it differently earlier.
Insurmi,
yeah. Oh.
It does confuse people.
Insurmi.
Yeah.
I like that. To insure. Ooh, I like that better. And then Shatha Barbour, CEO of Hera Hub Phoenix out here. We're excited to have both of you today. Sonny, I'm probably going to go to you first because I was reading about Insurmi and how it is a conversational AI-powered customer engagement digital platform. That's a mouthful. But it's used by some of the top-tier global insurance carriers to give them a competitive edge. Elaborate on that. What does that mean? Tell us a little bit about that company and how you started it.
Yeah, so to put it simpler than that, we built an AI-powered conversational chatbot named Violet that essentially automates sales, claims, and customer service at insurance companies around the country and then hopefully the world. I started the company in my college dorm room, so this is about 3.5 years ago, after working at an insurance agency out here in Tempe, Arizona, and we did a whole variety of things there, from sales, marketing, operations, and saw that the way we were doing business was just highly offline. It was done through agents, brokers, paper, fax, and phone. Our customers were looking for a digital option to purchase their policy or make a change to it. So I looked around the market and saw that this was not just a problem that we faced at the insurance agency, but it was something that was industry-wide. A lot of the carriers, even the biggest ones in America, still are reliant on, people to generate new business, big call centers to service their customers or process claims. They are now looking for digital solutions to serve their customers as, customer expectations are now changing.
That's fantastic. And you said you started this in your dorm room. How does that process even start?
Just literally as you can imagine it. I was just sitting there and I was like, this just makes no sense to me at all. Just started to ideate. So I had it wasn't a whiteboard, but it was actually just a big piece of paper on my wall, and then started to scribble notes down of just different problems really that I noticed in the job that I was working at, and start to ideate some tech-enabled solutions. And so, I just started in my college dorm room at ASU and started to meet with other mentors around the valley and other entrepreneurs, and they just kind of helped me, get the company off the ground.
That's fantastic. Did you have meetings in your dorm room?
No. I didn't. Coffee. It was actually coffee shops.
Okay.
At the beginning, because we didn't have any office or anything like that. So just a lot of coffee meetings.
Yeah. Well, what a great tie-in to Shatha and what she is doing, because it sounds like you needed a location like Hera Hub to be able to meet at. Shatha, your company, Hera Hub, is a very spa-inspired shared workspace. But there's also that component of business accelerator for the business owners, for those entrepreneurs and those professionals. So tell us a little bit more about your company and how you got started.
Sure. So we actually opened doors a year and a half ago, although it took us 2 years to open. So it's been, we've been talking about this for 4 years of really creating a female-focused workspace for the Valley. And, our mission is really driven to help support women business owners and entrepreneurs, although we're not exclusive. So we actually have a tech company that is predominantly male in our space right now.
See, Sonny, you could go there.
And a lot of it is because we just listened. I spent years listening to especially women of what it is that they wanted ideally in a workspace, in a collaborative workspace, and just designed a space to answer that. So when people come in, people are automatically disarmed, I want to say, because they just take it down a notch. It's like we're all running around with so many hats, and especially as women, for women business owners or entrepreneurs, with caregiving, all the other responsibilities that we take care of. And most women also have a nonprofit side to them, or they're involved in community activism. So there's so much that we're juggling that I wanted to create a space where really they can walk into and just be like, okay, I'm just going to breathe.
Yeah.
This place is for me. It's for my business. It's for my goals, what I want to do, what I want to create, and for my clients. And it resonates with them. And we did. And then I realized after we opened, everybody wants that.
Yeah.
It's not just women that need that. And it's not just women that are running around with their heads chopped off and are trying to do a million things for the community, for their business, for their families, et cetera. So we have an actual workspace, like it's a physical location. And then we actually partner to provide accelerator options for people just to help push the needle and help develop and grow local businesses that, whether you're from, I have an idea and I don't know what the heck I'm doing, to I just want to grow and I'm stuck and I don't know who to connect to and how do I do this in an environment that, resonates with them and finds the resources that they need, even if they're not creating, the next Facebook or the next Uber, but they want to create their companies the way they want to create it, the way at the pace and the growth that they want, and not just the unicorn idea.
Yeah.
Because a lot of small businesses are that way. A lot of the economy is built off of small businesses.
How does that work when somebody comes to you and they say it's Sonny. He says, I have this crazy idea. I figured out on a piece of paper in my dorm room. Now what? Where do I go? Because Sonny, you were lucky. You mentioned that you had some mentors to be able to coach and support you through that process.
Yes.
But a lot of small business entrepreneurs that are starting up, they don't have that. They don't know who to reach out to.
Yeah. Well, I spend a lot of time directing traffic because essentially our space is really the workspace. So when I get those people that are like, I have an idea, but I don't know what I'm doing, I'm like, okay, you're not necessarily need a workspace yet. What you need are the mentors. You need people. You need structure. You need format. You need guidance. You need knowledge. And then that's where we step in and say, okay, I want you to start connecting with all of these local, individuals, local mentors, accelerators, et cetera, to help them along instead of just saying, well, here's a workspace, because there's still the gap that needs to be, filled before they can really take off and grow.
Yeah. But you have an accelerator program that you're partnering with.
Yes. It's called Aha to Exit. It's with Aram Chavez. And so we partnered with them because Aram, the founder and CEO, he's actually an ASU professor. He does E&I classes out on the the East Campus and the Polytech. And so they've actually created an online virtual accelerator program. And so we've partnered with them because it gives people the access that they need, and then the workshops that are live that we do as well in partnership. So we can provide the virtual access to take people through the entire framework of what they need with mentorship and guidance, but then also live workshops to be able to plug in and connect with community, connect with other entrepreneurs, et cetera. So kind of creating a more holistic space.
Yeah. Is that why you went with them? Because there's I feel like there's a handful of different accelerator programs, especially here in Phoenix, because Phoenix is a very startup tech kind of area.
Yeah. I mean, we went with them for a number of reasons. We were on our missions aligned. And that was really important for me, is that we found somebody that had the same mission and vision as us and were supportive, especially for women business owners or female entrepreneurs, because there are different challenges that female entrepreneurs face compared to their male counterparts. So I wanted somebody that understood that was willing to make tweaks, willing to, adjust for the needs of female entrepreneurs. And we found it in them, but then also the fact that they have a virtual platform that people can do at their own time. The access reach is critical for women because women tend to start businesses later. And a lot of times there's caregiving involved. There's a lot of things that we're juggling. And we wanted to give them that reach and access to be able to go through an accelerator program as quickly as they wanted or as long as they wanted, take the time that they needed with given whatever circumstances that they're in, and you're not tied down always to a physical location. So then you can reach, people in Tucson. We can reach those women from Yuma or Flagstaff, because we've been getting calls from women all over the state of Arizona. So it's not just Phoenix. We're locally Phoenix, but like we keep getting questions of like, when are we expanding to Tucson and Yuma? Or how do I access? How do I network?
Awesome.
How do I plug into what's going on in Phoenix? And this is just an avenue to increase access for those women.
That's awesome. And then, Sonny, you guys have grown. I mean, you've grown extremely well from your dorm room to then securing $1 million in funding from investors. So you're still here in Phoenix. Your roots are here in Phoenix, although you came from, your upbringing was in Zambia.
Yeah.
And you were telling us right before it, we're going on a vacation. I've decided no more shows the rest of the month. We're going home.
We're just going to Zambia.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about that, and then to Phoenix, because Shatha and I have talked in the past too about, she's looked at the different Hera Hubs and all of those locations, but Phoenix having that need here. So I'm curious to hear a little bit about that from you as well.
Yeah. So I've grown up in a whole variety of places. So like Los Angeles and then St. Louis that was only 1 year, 3 years in Zambia. And then now I think the past 7 years in Phoenix. So just a whole bunch of different places. And it gave me kind of like a unique perspective on seeing entrepreneurship in all these different, parts of the world. I think, like countries like Zambia don't have many accelerators. And so it's kind of a challenge for companies out there to get started. But I think, accelerators are pivotal. It was pivotal for our success as well, because we went through the Global Insurance Accelerator in Iowa and Plug and Play's Silicon Valley and Singapore accelerators as well. So I'm a big fan of accelerators. I think they provide a lot of value and are pivotal to helping us find the product market fit very early on at Insurmi.
Nice. And if you didn't have that program, do you think that process would have taken you a little bit longer to figure out? Or, you had that accelerator program to really guide you.
Yeah. So it was, if it wasn't for the accelerator, I don't think we'd be around even, so they connected us with mentors, industry-specific mentors. Customers or early customers came from the Global Insurance Accelerator, the platform as well, like for industry thought leadership, so speaking engagements at conferences. It's, for InsurTech, because we're a B2B, and for this very, tight-knit industry, it's hard to kind of crack that. The barrier to entry is also very high. You kind of need accelerators to get your product into market.
Gotcha. So then why Phoenix? Why'd you start here? Why are you still here?
So the main reason is because I've lived here for the past 7 years. So friends, family, all that are here. Built kind of my professional network as well in the Valley over the past, 7 years. And I think, Phoenix is a city that's positioned for tremendous business growth. So like even incentives, we recently got a grant from the Arizona Commerce Authority to support our, local initiatives to hire locally. So there's a lot of things like that going on. Also, the talent is growing for at least, in our space, software. ASU is pumping out, ASU and U of A are pumping out a lot of talent that are applicable to what we do. Lower cost of living, so from a payroll standpoint and all that, it just makes more sense than going out to Silicon Valley or any of the coastal cities.
Are those, Shatha, some of the same things that you saw when you were narrowing down to stay in Phoenix?
Well, for me, it was just Phoenix. It was just, we love it here. It was, for me, a career transition of what is it that I wanted to do and how do I plug in the gaps that I saw in the city. And this was like, back then, this was a few years ago, there really weren't co-working spaces. There weren't that many accelerators. When I started looking, around and trying to figure out, where do women go? Like if you had an idea, 5-6 years ago, even Galvanize wasn't here.
Yeah.
I mean, there was one co-working space, maybe 2 in the whole valley. And so there was a lot of, I don't know what to do, because I was in that spot, because I was actually wanting to start a healthcare platform, because that's my background. My background's all healthcare and pharmaceuticals. And the people, there wasn't anywhere to go to say, hey, how do I do this? If you come from a corporate background and then you're throwing yourself into something completely different. And that's where Hera Hub came into. I just happened to connect with what was going on nationally, seeing the trends and seeing what other cities were doing. And people were, especially in San Diego, the amount of effort and money and funding, everything for women is just phenomenal. And the whole ecosystem that they built. And that's, people kept say, go to San Diego, check out what they're doing. And then I was like, oh my God, why isn't Phoenix doing anything like this? And so we said, okay, let's do this. Let's do this here in Phoenix. So
do you think we're getting better, or do you think, what are some of the areas that you see that Phoenix can still grow so that we can get to that point of San Diego?
There still needs a lot of work. When you start comparing Phoenix as a city to other cities around the country, there's a lot of work that still needs to be done. But on the other hand, it is, relatively speaking, Phoenix it's a new city. Mm-hmm. When you talk to people that have been here for a long time, they're like 25 years ago, there was it's a small town. Like, you didn't have homes and the expansion that you see now between businesses and even homes. So I think there's just a lot of catch up to do for a city that's growing as fast as it is, and the growth rate that we're experiencing. Then it's like, okay, there's a lot of resources that we need to be providing then to support entrepreneurs, small business owners, all these people that have ideas and want to create something amazing.
Yeah. Sonny, you nodded, but 25 years ago, you weren't even alive.
No.
But you're nodding.
I was just born.
Right?
So.
What do you see as some of the areas where we can really help the growth and the support of a lot of these tech companies, or like you use these accelerator programs? Where do you see some gaps that we could still fit?
I think from my perspective, it's on the funding aspect of growing the companies. Still a lot of there's not that much capital being deployed to Phoenix-based companies in general, right? Especially early stage ones. I mean, a lot of the later stage ones are raising big rounds and from other markets. But in terms of seed level deals, even for our $1 million round that we just did, the majority came from other cities. And not because there is no money here. I mean, there's a lot of people, right? A lot of wealthy people, angels, things like that. But I think that there needs to be more institutional capital going towards early stage companies instead of just angels.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that we've seen too. I mean, we've been sending women actually to San Diego to the Women's Venture Summit for funding.
Wow.
For the past 2 years, I've sent 2 female entrepreneurs to pitch and present at those summits because there just was a gap. There wasn't anywhere to send them here. I mean, that's starting to grow. There's Golden Seeds that just opened up a chapter here. I mean, they're still on the angel side, but just trying to create that traction and saying, hey, this is important. We need to start building institutions. We need to start building things for the city of Phoenix, for our local entrepreneurs. That's just starting. So I think that's going to, there's still some catch up, but that's what we've had to do is we've actually sent people to other cities because we're like, well, we want you to succeed. So if it's not here, if the money's not here, then go elsewhere, grab it, keep building and keep growing.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of we need that money to be here and be put back into what's happening here, which is interesting. Right before coming here, I came from the Good Business Summit that Local First is putting on. And it's interesting because that's exactly what they're talking about is keeping the money here in Arizona and growing the companies that are here in Arizona so that we can, give back and continue that cycle and growing the economy and the community and all of that. So I do have a question actually for both of you because both of you have background in supporting different community efforts as well and kind of give back efforts as well. So I want to know a little bit about the impact that your companies have on the community and the economy, but a little bit about what other things you're doing outside of Insurmi and Hera Hub. There's a lot of pieces in one question.
That's kind of it. I think for us, we're trying to hire locally. I mean, we are hiring locally for the most part. So keeping some of that value still within the Phoenix ecosystem, whether that be for our engineering team, design team, they're all local. So kind of, again, reinvesting that investment back into the Phoenix ecosystem.
Yeah.
Even going and partnering with other local vendors as well. So not just from our own internal team, but also trying to, if we are going to, for example, partner with a PR firm, we're trying to do that locally. Just keeping the wealth within this community, in general. So beyond that, from a community standpoint, we recently did a initiative, what we called Operation Purple Blanket. It was just a crazy name we came up with, but we gave out 1,000 meals and 1,000 blankets to some of the homeless population around downtown. Because again, our company is based in downtown at Galvanize. When I started the company, one of the things I noticed as driving into work was all of the people, on the side of the street. And it was around wintertime, I think it was 2016 or early 2017, that I made the conscious decision that if we ever got to the position where we can start to give back to the community, then we should start with the homeless challenge in downtown. So that was our first initiative as a company, but we want to continue to obviously try to tackle that challenge as well as any other ones that come up in our own ecosystem.
Yeah. What other ones do you see that might come up that you would love to tackle next?
I would say, there's a lot when I look at the
you're
world.
tackling a big one already.
Yeah. So that's like, and you kind of have to stay focused as well. So I don't want to try to go and try to solve everything, but also I would say just bringing, sponsoring events that drive innovation. So that can be like, Startup Grind or anything else that helps other entrepreneurs make their dreams come true. We're open to supporting.
Awesome. I love that. How about you?
So I feel like I have my Hera Hub life and then I have my other life.
Tell us about both.
Yeah. I mean, there's everything revolving around, female entrepreneurs, creating that landing space and a launching pad for women that we do at the Hub.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we do a lot of just give back in a very natural way. It's not necessarily through big events because we end up sponsoring a lot of events. A lot of nonprofits come through our space. And so we help them with their events. We kind of sponsor their events. We let them create their space that they want to create, that, that they can feel comfortable in and just keep growing in. So we've had so many, I can't even count the number of nonprofits that have come through Hera Hub. And so we're constantly giving back in that way. Most of them do center around something female, female-centric in terms of female empowerment, whether it's health or education of some sort. And then on the non-Hera Hub side, so I actually sit and co-founded a nonprofit almost 10 years ago that is really specific to the Muslim community, filling in gaps for the Muslim community, because that's the community that I'm from. And we started it out as a kids program, and now it is more than a kids program. It is everything between specifically for high schoolers, college students, and then adults, because with the amount of, let's just say, toxic culture that's been developed over, the past couple of years, especially for minorities, we just found that the Muslim community, the youth, especially those high schoolers, just really needed a lot of support. They needed empowerment. They needed to create their sense of identity, who they are, in a safe space environment where they can just question anything and then be able to just dig deep and kind of gain a more of a spiritual foothold, but then also leadership skills to help them navigate like the onslaught of what they're dealing with from high school to college students. So we started developing camps and programs and retreats for those age groups. But then we noticed that, it wasn't just this age group that's really struggling these days. It is the adults. It's their parents. So then we had to create a whole other set of programming just focused on the adults to help them navigate through these times as well. And how do you find your voice? What is your voice? What is your purpose? What is your mission? How do you integrate all that and not feel like you're losing yourself or losing your identity and your background and your cultures? And it's a very diverse group of people that we deal with. So It's really exciting. But anyway, so I do that as well. And I facilitate workshops. I'm on the board, and there's just a lot of work that we're doing that is gaining now national attention because there's nobody in this space that's doing the work that we're doing. So
that's amazing.
Our leaders are now being asked to facilitate and do these workshops and retreats between New Jersey, Chicago, and San Francisco.
And what's the name of that organization?
It's called Good Tree Institute.
Good Tree Institute.
Yeah. In fact, we actually have a class. It's kicking off this Saturday, a 2-day class that is called the American Tapestry. It's open to the public, and it's going through historical elements. This class is focusing on the Native American tribes and nations, and the class was completely designed over the course of a year and a half with the Navajo tribe, and talking about really getting to a deep understanding of we're on sacred lands, we're on Native American lands. How do we understand this culture and integrate it so we're learning from each other? So, and we're going to go through what makes an Irish American, what makes an Italian American, all these different cultures that have come to the U.S. and have integrated, and yet they still hold on to their cultural heritage and cultural roots. So
that's awesome. And how would people find out about that and getting involved?
You know what? The best way they can go to goodtreeinstitute.com, and it's on the website. That's probably the easiest way, because I was like, it's not on our website. It's not Hera Hub related. It's more me related,
right? You both have a lot of things and a lot of pieces. That's awesome, though. You said that's been for 10 years now.
Yeah, we started it 10 years ago, the organization.
How many people do you have that are part of that? It sounds like there's a lot of manpower behind it.
Yeah, we have a lot of different committees that focus on a lot of different things. So between all the different programs, there's a whole team. So the college students we have a whole host of ASU college students and just recent grads take on the high school portion. So there's always some sort of a mentorship that's going on. And so the high schoolers are being mentored by the college students who are being mentored by the adults. And then we just kind of circulate and rotate people. So it's a number of people.
Yeah.
We're a tiny organization as a nonprofit. We're still tiny, but between all the different committees and all the different programs and the amount of people that we touch, it turns into the hundreds.
Yeah. And the attention that you're grabbing.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Sonny, is there anything, so I'm listening to Shaza talk about this nonprofit, and I'm looking at you because as a very young entrepreneur that's started this phenomenal growing company already, is there anything else, you don't have to give away any secrets, but is there anything else that you're already thinking, okay, this is the next thing I want to start. I need to focus on this. I need to grow this. I need to create this. Because I feel like with somebody like you that's young and already making a huge difference with a company you've already started, there's more fire in you.
Oh, yeah. We're just getting started. You know? But I would say, I do want to create the Insurmi Foundation when we get to, I think, the next level, right? Which may be in another year and a half. And then to tackle some of having that be more of, again, supporting entrepreneurship and innovation within just the general insurance industry. So I think there's different ways we want to kind of give back. I do want to deliver opportunities for other entrepreneurs, right? Kind of like what I had through ASU, because I do see a lot of opportunities to mentor and support up and coming entrepreneurs, which I think there's still a gap in the market, especially within our own industry, in the insurance industry. So, because insure tech in general is still fairly new, that there is just a lot of opportunities for companies that are leading in that space to support that, general industry. And then looking deeper again into the societal issues. But I think that's something you need to have a good amount of time for and to be truly dedicated to. But something that I would consider after, I think, either exiting Insurmi or getting to a much later stage. So there's only so many things you can kind of tackle at one time.
You can do them all. All of the things. With Insurmi, and you started this as, a product to be able to use for selling insurance because it was being done, unnecessarily, and it was cumbersome and outdated. Do you see the platform that you've created being something you can implement in other industries, so not just the insurance industry?
Yeah, no, definitely. So conversational AI, the underlying technology behind our solution, can be applied in any, industry or any use case. But, we want to remain focused on the insurance industry, so remaining vertical specific because of the kind of domain expertise that's needed to really partner with some of these bigger insurance companies. That's what they're looking for as well. And how we kind of stand out from other conversational AI companies out there that are taking like the horizontal approach to the market where they build these type of solutions, but for any type of business.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I do think the technology can be applied. Are we going to do that? Probably not, as long as, it's under my leadership. But because again, you just have to, it comes down to focus and what specific use cases are you the best at as a company?
No, but it's really neat that you recognize that because it lets you be an expert in your field.
Right.
Instead of doing a little bit in all kinds of areas, it lets you do a lot in one specific area so that you have that specialty and that expertise.
Yeah.
That's fantastic though. But I feel like you could always create and do something different.
Maybe the next company.
Right.
But for this one, it's all about insurance.
Yeah. But it's similar, Shaza, with you with Hera Hub. You knew that there was a focus for females to have that opportunity to connect. And yes, you say, there are men that come in, but your focus for starting that was being able to see that was the piece that needed to be filled was for females.
Right, exactly. Like at some point, you like he said, you have to stay focused and mission driven. And for us, we're true to our mission. We're open to all, but the mission is really specific. It is how do we grow and support women business owners, just because there's such a gap in the market and there's such a great need that, everybody else is being serviced, or you can find, spaces for a lot of different people. But when it comes to women, there aren't that many spaces. And now I'm seeing more so when it comes to diversity. Like, that's, our membership and the group of, yes, we have a lot of women, but then we have a lot of women within diverse backgrounds. And when you start digging into the numbers and the data and all of that, that's also a population that isn't being served very well. So it's, how do we give back? And that's where we do give back a lot. It's through a lot of diversity, like diversity and inclusion initiatives.
Yeah. So what are the next steps for you for Hera Hub?
For us, it's still growth. I mean, we've only been open for a year and a half.
I know. But I feel like
it is.
I know like you've grown so much already.
Exactly. And people are always like, no, it's been years. I'm like, no, we've been talking about this for years, but we really just opened. So there's still a lot of growth that we're experiencing. And even the things that we had in our plan of like, okay, we'll do this at year 3, we'll do this at year 5. Everything's coming a lot quicker. So it's how do you manage that and, and provide the resources and the support and still see gaps in the system and in the cities that somebody needs to address. So it's not necessarily maybe us addressing that, but it's finding the right partners and the right collaborations that can say, as a city, we need to address this problem. Who's in on this with us? Who can help us push the needle? So
if you were going to put an ask out there on the air in the universe, who are those partners that you are searching to find, or those communities that you're searching to find that you can work with?
Definitely communities like the Latina community, the African American community. Those are big communities that we are starting to serve now just through our members, and we're holding that space for them. But tapping into that community more to make sure that their needs are being addressed, that we're providing the resources that they need as well. And, being that, holding that space for them. So there's those communities. Then there's also this, things, it'd be great to see more advocacy on the city and state level to really push and support women in business. When you look at across other states, like the state of Texas, it's unbelievable. They're like the best, like number 1 or number 2 spot for if you're a female to start a business or a company there.
Wow.
And the governor supports it. Like everyone down the line is just putting in money and funding and support, anything that they need to really help that ecosystem develop and grow. So, those are the types of things that would be great to start seeing happen for Arizona, just because we're like one of the fastest growing cities.
Yeah.
And yet you don't really hear a lot. from like government officials besides just trying to grab more tech companies that are coming out of California and trying to get them to relocate here, which is great too. But then you're looking around, okay, well, what about the people that are from here that are here? So
what about the ones that are already local?
Yeah.
Not that big company that's coming from somewhere else.
Right.
Yeah. Sonny, what about you? What do the next steps look like? So maybe not the next company you start or platform, but even just for Insurmi, like what are the next steps for you? Where's that growth look like?
So just, getting more, for us, it's customer acquisition. So getting more insurance companies to use Violet, right, to automate their customer engagement. So having more conversations with insurance carriers, educating the market on the potential of the underlying technology and the long-term value behind it. So a lot of it is just getting the word out through and educating, the people that run these big insurance companies. And then beyond that, I see Violet being an ally to also agents and brokers currently. So speaking with more agents and brokers to see how conversational AI can help their businesses and just grow the customer reach beyond the enterprise and into the individual market.
And you said using Violet and educating the public on, the benefits and how she works and everything. If you had to give like the top, like, this is why you need Violet, what would those things be?
So Violet can be, it's so dynamic, so like and it's different for different users, but I would say the top things could be Violet can help, agents generate leads online in an easy, streamlined manner, automate claims as well. So, instead of having your policyholders call you up whenever something happens, they can just easily walk through a guided experience through Violet to get that claim on its way quicker and in a more efficient manner. And then just engaging as well with your customers or policyholders, whether that be for, throughout the lifetime of that policy. So annual reviews, automating annual reviews, policy changes if a customer needs that. So really just helping them either make more money or save money in a couple different ways.
And both areas are areas that companies are trying to do.
Right.
I have a random side question, but how did you pick the name Violet?
Well, it was a process, but it came from our company colors are purple, purple and violet. So it was just like nothing too complicated, but we're different from like a lot of the other insurtechs, which take like a blue, like very dull colors, and I wanted to brand the company as more fun.
Yeah.
Violet was also a name that a lot of people did not know an actual person in their life by.
Gotcha.
So it was a popular name, but not so popular where they knew somebody by that name.
Yeah.
So it would resonate with like, okay, Violet is the Insurmi's AI system, right? So it was very unique as well. Awesome. And that's why we just landed with that name.
Yeah. I was curious because it was a female name, and you have a lot of these, like the Violet, the Alexa, the Siri.
Yeah.
You have all of these female names.
Because it's customer service.
Right?
Well, I think it just that's a good point though.
And there's nothing wrong with it.
It's a very gentle,
interesting,
friendly.
And you find a lot of women in customer service roles. Even like when you're looking at an industry in the co-working industry, there were actually studies that were done that most community managers and most people that are running the actual workspaces are women. They tend to be women, even if the investors or the people who manage the building are the men.
Yeah.
But they always put a woman in front.
Well, my background actually, way back when, goes to back towards animal behavior and husbandry. And it's crazy because it's a motherly, females have that motherly instinct through all different species, maybe not snakes. There, here you go. You're on your own, kid. But in a lot of these species, it's the mother that raises the young. It's the mother that has those tender, gentle, caring sides. And so it is interesting to see that a lot of these AI platforms are females. They're very caring,
friendly,
gentle. Yeah, you said bright colors.
Yeah,
you're not calling up the AI that's Alfred or something.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. There's probably some like good psychology research behind that.
Yeah.
But,
I'd like to see a platform called Sherlock.
Ooh.
Like, hey, Sherlock.
I like that.
That's yeah.
I like that. Well, a couple of things before we do start to wind down a little bit. I want to give both of you the opportunity to highlight, share, do an ask, do a reach out, whatever it is, whatever we didn't touch upon for your company. I want to make sure you have this platform to be able to share. Sonny, if you want to go first.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, we're a tech company, B2B focused, right? So I would say, an ask would be, if you're working in the insurance space, you have some feedback for us and our solution, how we can make it better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always open to ideas from either agents, brokers, policyholders, executives at insurance carriers, anyone in an innovation role. And because that's kind of how we built the product. So I'm always looking for feedback on how to make product Violet better and more effective for the industry. I have, people just randomly sometimes message me on LinkedIn saying, I love what you're doing. And you can, have you thought about this functionality or feature? So for us, I would say, that is kind of the big ask is feedback. Because when you're early stage, you're trying to still make sure you're building the right solution. Feedback is really the big help in doing that.
Awesome. Shatha, what about you?
Yeah, for us, it's, if anybody's looking for a beautiful Zen-like environment to work in and grow their companies and just even a place for event space or meeting room space, we are centrally located. We've hosted so many things in our space because our space is also an event space. So we've hosted, like the serious stuff, like the workshops and the speaker series to brunches and networking events and baby showers and bridal showers and just private dinner parties. Yeah. So if anybody's really looking for a professional space during the day or just an event space on the evenings and weekends, just consider us and come on over, especially if you're on the same mission as us to really help and support women business owners.
I love the space. I really do. When you walk in, you feel like all of a sudden everything is calm, relaxed. And you had mentioned to me before that you were very particular about the location that you picked too. Because
it's super central. Yeah. We're right off of 21st and Highland in the Biltmore area. So we have plenty of free parking. We're right next to Whole Foods and Trader Joe's and like all the amenities that you could ever want across the street. Yeah. So that way people can come in and just really focus on what they need to knock out for that day. Mm-hmm. And then they can just hit the groceries, hit all the errands that you need to get done before you get on the highway. And it's right off the highway. Yeah. And we're like 2 exits from the airport.
Yeah, close to the airport.
Super central.
Close to my bank. I can hit everything at once.
Yeah. And that's why, we actually have members that are from all parts of the valley, as far north as Anthem, to the East Valley, to the west side, just because of its location. That way they're not trekking, an hour or more just to meet with a client or get work done. They're just like, okay, everyone can just meet at this central location and everyone get your stuff done, get really productive, and then be off.
And then onto the baby shower.
Yeah.
And then the store. I love that. One last thing. If you had to tell somebody, the main thing that sets your company apart, we've obviously touched upon a lot of this stuff already. But if someone asked me, hey, you met Sonny that, has this company, Insurmi, what sets his company apart? What would you want me to tell them?
I would say, we are a very young team. So like a millennial-driven team that is solving the millennial problem in insurance. So we are kind of the user base of what we are building. And so it's a little bit, unique for our industry because it's a very mature demographic that, tend to be insurtech founders. So if you see it at like different conferences, we're usually like the one that look like kids, but that's what has built the traction, right?
Yeah.
So companies are trusting us because they're like, okay, who better to solve the millennial engagement problem than a bunch of millennials themselves?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think about when you need anything fixed nowadays. I call up usually somebody in my phone that's under 25 so they can help me fix whatever needs to be fixed. Or, we got a new iPad for my mom to use and she was trying to figure it out. And I said, just give it to the kiddo. I think the kiddo was maybe 6 at the time. She's like, I'll show you. My mom was not excited, but she showed her, you got to focus on the generations that you're raised in it. You know what to do and you know the problems that you need to fix. So I think that's awesome. Well, fantastic. Before we go, I need to hear from you. If somebody asked me, hey, You talked to Shaz on the air the other day. She has this company, Hera Hub. Yeah. It sounds really cool, but what sets her apart? We obviously talked a little bit about this already.
Yeah, I think for us, it's really our mission is the fact that we're just driven to support women business owners and just push the needle.
Awesome.
And it's the environment. It's like I wish I had a camera for everybody that walked in and took like the videos of like just their reaction when they first come into our space and how they feel when they're in it and after they leave. So it's a different type of community. We're very much we're a boutique space. So everything we do is very boutique. We're very hands-on. We're very customer service oriented just because we want to create that community. That's a very tight-knit community and that's very collaborative. So
I love it. And if people want to reach out to you, how can they reach you?
They can email me directly at shatha@herahub.com, HERAHUB.com, or just quickly go to our website. Everything's on our website, and that's www.herahub.com/Phoenix.
Awesome. Sonny, if they want to reach you, how do they do that?
I tend to use LinkedIn the most professionally. So it's just Sonny Patel on LinkedIn. I think it's /Sonny Patel 94. Or email sonny@insurmi.com or even Instagram. So you can...
You're all over the place.
Yeah.
Sonny with 2 N's.
Yes. SONNYPATL 94. And that's also on Instagram. So
awesome. Well, thank you to both of you. It took some finagling to get you both on the show at the same time. So I appreciate your patience. It was great to have you both on. Good luck with both of your companies. They're both still growing, still new, but already doing so much. And both of you are already making a difference. So thank you. You've been listening to Phoenix Business Radio, broadcasting live from within the Mac 6 and Conscious Capitalism, Arizona Business RadioX studio. Some media leans left, some leans right. We lean business. Until next time, this is Kendra. Thank you for listening.